Guys, welcome back to part 3. Should be the last and final episode of this gate entry cylinder. We've cleaned up all the components and honed out the tube, so now it's nice and shiny. We had to make a new piston so that it fits the size of the tube. And we've now got the seals, so we're going to put them all together. This is our retaining ring. This holds the seal inside the gland. This is the wiper, and this prevents material from being sucked inside the tube. We replaced the rod bushing, and you can see that it fits perfectly, and there's absolutely no movement whatsoever. That's what you want. You don't want the rod swaying back and forth and then wearing your seals and wearing your bushing. And this goes into the gland. And you just gently work it around. Okay, now I just have to get a tool that's soft that I could hit it all the way down into the bottom. So as you can see, it was a tight fit. We don't want any space on the outside adding movement. So we're eliminating as much excess movement as possible to allow the cylinder to run as true as possible. Next, we're gonna put in our V-packs. And you notice that there's a hard top and a hard bottom. And this is to go in first. And the V-pack will sit inside it like that, or on top of it, and then the rest will stack up, and then this guy goes on top to protect it, and then gets all locked in with our retaining ring. So let's put the V-pack in. That's oil, lots of oil. Never want to have your seals to be dry. There we go. Now there's just enough room to set this in on top, which is the retaining ring, and it sits right on top of there and gives them a little bit of a squeeze. So you put it on, and then you line up your holes like that. Give it a little bit of a tap. That's it. Now we can put some bolts on. And we'll put a little bit of never seize. Let's put a couple of these in just to hold everything together. Okay, now we'll put the gland seal on, which is just this O-ring. That goes on. O-ring lube prevents it from ripping or tearing when it's being installed. This is the back cap, so we can put the O-ring on this one. Put a little bit of oil. Those are ready. We can put the seals on the piston. Just to have to figure out which side is the front, which side's the back. See how this side's got threads all the way? And this side's got a nice soft shoulder there. So, if you were to put your O-ring on this side, those threads will just chew it apart and it'd leak. We know that this is the back, so now we know which way to put on our piston seals. We always put the piston seals on in the direction of force. because it's the back, the pressure is going to build up on this side. The seal will expand and stop the oil from getting past it this way. So the seal goes this way, and this seal, being having the force come from the front, will go this way. You see the aggressive, you see the O-ring there, the side profile. That's what stops the oil from passing, because it flares out. Front, so we're gonna go like this. Put a little bit of oil. All right. These are thick seals, so they're a little difficult here. Oh, I'm gonna have to switch my tool up here. I'm gonna grab a thicker tool. There we go. Good. Now we flip it over. There you go. So now the piston's on, and these are the wear bands. So piston seals, wear bands. Okay, so now we can start to assemble the pieces on the rod. So the first thing that goes on is the gland. It's called assembly grease. Helps to lubricate everything and helps you install it a little bit easier. Cylinders are very tight, take a lot of pressure. As you can see, just putting on the piston seals and stuff like that takes a little bit of strength. I'll bring this guy on. You see me put those V-packs in. So those V-packs create a lot of resistance. So you have to use a little bit of persuasion. And then what assists I can do is I can grab the piston, and I can use the piston as for leverage. I didn't put any seals or on the inside or anything, because I'm going to be taking the piston back off. So what I'll do is I'll screw the piston on a little bit. Like that. And then I'm going to stick my pry bar in there, and then I'll push off it like that. So I can stick the pry bar. There we go, you see that? And then just go a little bit closer, close up the gap. We're almost there. See how my technique of using the pry bars works a lot better. Rod bushing is a line on there and the V-packs are on there, it'll move a lot easier. Yeah. This is all V-pack that does that. Mike's got to put some holes in here so I can put my spanner on there, and then I can wrench it in. And it looks like it's a little tight on the O-ring, so I'll get him to open that up. But that's to be expected when you have a piston that's threaded on. The difficulty lies in the very tightness, like of the allowed clearances for the pieces. Everything has to have very tight tolerances, not to be too large, right? But too small would mean a piston that just, or a cylinder that just doesn't last long enough, because all that slop and space is just gonna reverberate itself all the way through the entire cylinder, and then it'll just cut its life in half, right? Because all our cylinders have warranty, so they have to meet an extended period of time under 24/7, 365-day-a-year conditions. Okay. Make sure we wash any grit or foreign contaminants off. It's an O-ring, and this is the gland cushion. So this part slides over there, and it slides in nice inside your gland, and this allows the piston to slow down as it's retracting at the end. And then we'll just put the O-ring on here. Seeing how everything fits, goes together, and if you could see if there's anything that you could do better. This is the old piston. The old piston had some spanner holes on there, so I'm going to get the machinist to put some spanner holes on. Okay, so we got some holes so that we can put our spanner in and finish tightening up this piston. All right, now we're into the O-ring. See right in there. Can't really see it. It's buried in there now. All right. I'll just give it a little tap. And then I'm going to be drilling out for a new hole for a lock pin. So basically I'll drill a hole, I'll tap it, and you see on the old rod there, you see that partial hole? That was on the old piston. It had a set screw, and that stops the piston from unwinding while it's inside. Perfect. Okay, so now I'll just get my tools and I'll drill this out. Starting on an angle. There we go. Three-quarters of an inch will be okay. I'm using a bottoming tap so it'll set right down. There we go. And now that smoke is just because I put some lubricant on there. That's how far I am. I'll get some air and blow that out, and we'll get a tap for it. Oh, there we go. Oops. Okay, so I just put some red Loctite on our set screw. Make sure it's good and tight because we don't want this guy to come out. There you go. I could put a peen near the top. When I peen the edge of the steel, it'll bulge near the exit, so the set screw can't back out. All right. We're ready to put the piston into the tube. Make sure we lube it up good. Just gonna put some assembly grease at the entrance here. There we go.
There you go. Get closer now.
Okay, so I just applied a little bit of pressure. Now I have to use a tool that's very blunt and is not sharp. And basically I have to get the edge of the U-seal underneath. I got a tool for that, see? It's just an old screwdriver with no tip on it, but it's soft and not sharp. That's the key. Okay. There. Okay. All right, this should be far enough. These videos are proof to my wife that I work hard. Now at this point is where I look to join them together, but also make sure, in this instance, the ports line up, right? So if it's going back to a customer, if the ports don't line up, it's kind of hard for them to install something. Pull it the rest of the way in. Yeah, it's always good to Pour a little bit of oil on your O-ring. Careful while you're putting in the gland that you put it in evenly so you don't pinch the O-ring that's in there. So you tighten up on one side a little bit, and you come over the other side. Got her closed up. We'll suck it in, and I'll bring it over to the test bench and test it. And if we pass the tests, then we can paint her. All right, we just brought the cylinder over from the shop, and we just brought it over to the test bench, and now we're going to test the oil. What we're doing is we're taking a sample of oil from our reservoir, and this machine's going to do a particle count, and will tell us whether the oil is clean enough to test our cylinder, and it's something that we record, and so that our customers know that we tested their cylinder with above standard for the industry for cylinders. On this sheet right here, it'll show us that for cylinders, we're looking at a particle count of 2017 14, which is our suggested cleanliness, and our oil is 17-12-7, so we're well above industry standard. Okay, so we got the cylinder all hooked up and is ready to be tested. You'll notice this boot at the front. That's to protect the rod. We're going to be keeping that back, so that way we can check for leaks at the rod seals or the gland seals. So that way, that's the reason why this is back. And I've got it hooked up, wired up to the machine, so we can see and show the customer that we've gone through the cycles, and we've also run it to all the different pressure ranges. This cylinder here, we're going to test to 3,000 psi, and we're going to do 5 strokes each side up to 500, and then climb to 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000. Now we're not going to show you the whole test because that would be a little bit monotonous, but you can see what it's like. Okay, so I'll start it now. You'll see how it slows down at the back end, much greater than the front. That's because the back end has a cushion that's really long. Now if you look at the chart here, every time the cylinder goes in and out, you'll notice it record it and leave it on the graph. We're just above 500 psi. Okay, increase the pressure. Now we're at 1,000 psi. My valve, but it's mo control, so I can switch it back from A side to B side just by pressing the buttons. Everything looks good. Everything functioned properly. Now the next step is on to paint. Okay guys, here you go, finished product. Painted and ready to go out the door. If you like this content, please subscribe. And if you want to learn more about cylinders, watch more of our videos. Click up here.